Hi, everyone.
Hello,
Hello.
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 Hello, everybody.
Welcome.
Welcome. Welcome to Coach's Corner. Welcome to this very, very special, as I say it always, they're all very special. Um, but it'll be very special for you when you have an open mindset to what we're sharing today, because you're a part of this, whether you know it or not. And it'd be a good thing to understand what you're part of. So this is a very special session because we are wrapping up. This is the final chapter, that we covered in "You Were Born Rich" by Bob Proctor, which is an amazing book that my amazing colleague Alicia is holding up on the screen. And if you haven't read that book, make sure you get a copy of it. There's audiobooks and stuff like that, maybe YouTube or whatever. But, definitely invest in yourself, uh, whether it's knowledge, time, or, money, obviously. Especially you want to achieve more, be more, do more, have more. So without further to do, ready to jump right into this episode of, I feel like this is like a long saga of all the Star Wars movies put together and all the sequels. Actually, it comes to mind, Police Academy. That was a movie back in the 80s where they made part 1 and part 2, all the way up to, I think, part 14, right?
Oh
But
my gosh.
yeah, it's hilarious. But this is part 10 of this book here, so to speak. So my name is Jamel Matias. I'm a certified mindset success coach / business consultant. My purpose is to reveal the hidden potential that's already within you and guide you to your truest desires. I work with individuals, entrepreneurs and business owners as well, achieve higher milestones. And it's all about believing in the unseen, believing that goal is for you and believing in yourself. And I help you with that. And I'm in Maryland. I've been traveling a lot this past week. And I'm going to pass it to my amazing colleague, Lou.
Oh, hello. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. Um, so I'm excited about this particular chapter, the vacuum law of prosperity, because I had never heard of it. But once I learned about it, it made so much sense. So I'm really looking forward to diving into this chapter. My name is Lou Perica. I am a success mindset coach as well. And I guide and support women who may feel stuck or unfulfilled, and I help them reconnect with their innermost truth. And by doing this, you gain clarity and confidence and the courage to finally take inspired action toward a life that feels aligned, prosperous, and purposeful. Alicia.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Lou. My name is Alicia Espinosa. I am in Sweden, so I start with good evening and then good afternoon because it's 4 o'clock here. So I am a certified coach, a values coach also, and I help people to create a life that feels good on the inside, and that means that the life that you create is aligned with your values, that is important to you, and that you don't expect outside gratification, but because you find it from yourself. And I also help leaders to create, to be leaders that others will follow. Paul.
Thank you, Alicia. My name is Paul Wooters. I'm in Burlington, Ontario, Canada. I'm a success mindset coach, Proctor Gallagher consultant, author, speaker. Recently appointed the director of inner potential and personal mastery in a private school here in Oakville, the World Life Education Center. And how did this all happen? It happened by applying the principles that we talk about here every week. Through applying these principles and through mentorship, that's how it happened. And so I help individuals and students create and design your life by intention rather than by default. And so creating a life that you truly want and become the person that you truly want to be and you're meant to be, and to achieve your most elusive personal and professional goals. Back to Jamel.
Amazing. I am so happy and grateful to be here with my awesome colleagues and share this very powerful material. And wow. And there's so much shared here in this short chapter. But when I first heard of this law, and it's a different way of wording it, right? The vacuum law of prosperity. I heard of it called the law of vacuum. Essentially, we'll just lay it all on the line, as Bob would say. It's removing things of a lower nature to make room for things of a higher nature. And this goes with a lot of different levels in life. And if you really think about it, I just remember hearing that in my studies that everybody's life is full, right? We're busy. We have tons of things to do every day. Even our minds are busy, right? But the question is, if you desire growth, you desire change, you desire more out of life, what are you making room for? Ask yourself, what am I making room for? And this is where you have to remove things you become so conditioned to have in your life, even things you detest. We'll get into that, right? Things that I don't like that, whether it's physical or mental or your lifestyle or the money you're making. It doesn't matter what that is, but it's unique to you. And I forgot to mention, make sure you drop comments, engage with us, ask some questions here live. And of course, don't let this just be knowledge as always. Just reach out to us. Our call links are in the comments or description. That way we can talk to you and help apply this material to you, which is essential because you can get motivated, you can feel good, you can get inspired, but you go right back into your conditioning and nothing changes. And we'll talk to you. You'll see another video maybe next year of us. You'll be in the same place. We don't want that for you. We want you to grow with this material and change your life. I know I do. I know my colleagues do as well. So, law of vacuum. Who wants to just jump in there?
I'll start. So in this chapter, Bob dedicates it to his aunt Marge and her husband Don, mostly Marge, but so he would visit his aunt, who was fairly, I think they were only a few years apart, so they were very close friends. And he would go over there, and his aunt complained about the curtains. She detested the curtains that hung in their living room. And then Bob said to her, "You don't detest them, you actually love them." And she got all upset. "What do you mean? No, I hate them. I hate them." He said, "Well, if you really hated them, you would replace them." And then here comes her husband who chimes in, "If we replace them, if we take those down, then we have to replace them." And they were living with the mindset of lack and scarcity. So every day that his aunt would look at these curtains, she would be reminded of how much she detested, as they say in the chapter, these curtains. So every time you look at these things, and you can think of anything in your life, it could be a thing, it could be a person, it could be anything. But when you look at this, acknowledge it, it brings your vibration down. So Bob started to tell her about this law, the vacuum law of prosperity. And he says, when you remove those curtains, something will replace them. And then here comes the husband. "Oh, we're going to replace them," because money was very tight. So she did listen to Bob. And then one day Bob went to go visit her. and they had up new drapes. And she was so excited. She really loved her new drapes. These are exactly what she wanted. So by doing this, she started replacing furniture one piece at a time. Because if you want to replace a new couch, for an example, a new sofa, you have to remove what's already there to make the space for the new sofa. So this is what this law is about, and I had never heard of it. But it makes so much sense because when I look back when I was much younger in my heyday of socializing and becoming this so-called adult when we were legal to go and drink and go into establishments. Um, I didn't like it. I never really liked it. I did it because I thought I had to do it because everyone was partying and whatnot, going out. But I never really liked it. And one day I just made a decision not to do it anymore. But it wasn't just not to do it. I started to replace those habits, those Friday, Saturday night habits and things like that by really getting into health. I started to study, I started exercising, I started fasting, I started juicing, and all of these different things. Because had I just quit, and many people will understand this if you were a smoker, if you just quit cold turkey and not replace that habit of picking up the cigarette with perhaps going for a walk or taking a drink of water or something like that, eventually that vibration of doing that habit of smoking, and Bob explains this, he gave up drinking and he went into gambling because he didn't replace that um, unserving habit with something that he truly desired. So again, for me, I really desired to live a healthy lifestyle, but I had to remove the unhealthy lifestyle to make room for the exercising, make room for the new eating habits, make room for the new friends in my life that I would attract that weren't celebrating on the weekends. So that's how I really enjoyed this law because I find it's just truth. Once you remove something, something will come in its place. Paul?
Yeah, great analogies, Lou, and real life experiences. But the analogies of smoking, like I know people smoke, they quit smoking, and they start eating, and they gain a lot of weight or something. So you have to consciously replace it with something. So it's a great chapter. It's the like everyone else here has been saying. I had not heard of it either, really, but Bob's introducing this vacuum law of prosperity, and it's a universal principle that states that nature abhors a vacuum, right? Doesn't like a vacuum. So whenever you create an empty space in your life, not just physically, but mentally or emotionally, it will be filled with something new as well. And most people will block prosperity by holding on to outdated beliefs, not just things, not just material things, but limiting beliefs, and cluttered environments or unfulfilling jobs, unfulfilling relationships. And by clinging to what no longer serves us, we don't leave any room for growth or abundance to enter. And Bob goes on to explain that creating space, it's a signal to the universe that you're ready for more. And it could be as simple as cleaning out an old closet, but also what really stood out for me is like releasing negative thoughts, or perhaps letting go of a job that no longer aligns with your goals. And that's true for so many people. But the act of this releasing demonstrates trust that something better is going to come along and take its place. And there's a real importance of of having faith and expectancy. So when you let go, you must do, you have to do that with confidence that the new opportunities, that new resources are going to come to you. And that, includes outdated paradigms and negative attitudes and self-doubt. You have to release those and have the confidence. We have this fear. We hang on to things just because we're a little bit comfortable. We don't really want them, but if that fear of unknown prevents us from releasing what we already have. Alicia.
And you say something about the behaviors and beliefs and so. And the strange thing is that we sometimes defend our limiting beliefs because there are coping mechanisms that we as people have, and then we defend them. So we know that they are not good for us, but we defend them because it's a good coping mechanism. For example, you can be a victim of these circumstances, that you defend different behaviors and mental blocks or beliefs because you feel safe there, instead of like releasing all this. If you release all this, then you need to do something. You need to do to go outside your comfort zone, and that is scary. We have talking about the comfort zone many times, and because we don't know what is on the other side of the comfort zone, we do everything to stay there. So we defend our limiting beliefs sometimes because of the fear of something. The coping mechanism for different coping mechanisms that we have. If you are a person, for example, that is always blaming and complaining, it's a coping mechanism not to take actions, not to take to make decisions, and then we stay there and we defend those behaviors or limiting beliefs. So it's so strange how we people are. And I say we because it's sometimes I defend some of my beliefs, and so it's like because I know that, and sometimes I don't know. I am not aware that I do that. And I had a person that I was coaching, and the person was telling me all the time, "Doctor, I don't know," every time. And I say, are you aware that every time I ask you something, you say, I don't know, even before I ask the question? You say, no, I don't know. I don't know that I do that. I say, yeah, you do that all the time. And when we discuss about what happened is that when she was younger, like 12 years, 13, she was in school, and the teacher asks something and she wanted to say, and then she says wrong, and all people around the friends in the school started to laughing. So for her, that behavior of saying all the time, I don't know, was a coping mechanism to defend herself not to be in that situation again. So I told her, but you don't, independent of what you say, I will never say you did wrong or something. But she wasn't aware of that. It's this thing, the same thing with us. We sometimes hold hard with things that we are not aware that they are not good for us.
So good. With awareness comes growth.
Awareness.
Right? Yeah, awareness is key. And this is why we do Coach's Corner. to help you with awareness of who you truly are and how you're connected with everything around you. So with this chapter, and this is going back to what was shared here, all of us were talking about. It says, if a person remains continually in close proximity with something, right? So look around you, right? Be it another person or an object, it can only be because the person is in harmonious vibration with them or it. So, and it goes on to say, love is just another word for resonance or harmonious vibration. So whether you don't like it or you detest it, you're still at a vibrational state that's matching that, right? And he says that what I had stated was the law of the universe. So if you look at it, it's all the same thing. It's the law of attraction, the law of vibration. There's harmonious vibration, there's resonance, and everything vibrates at a different state. Even our thoughts is energy, and we'll get onto that as well. So when you look at this, we were talking about Marge's drapes at the beginning, but this is pretty much anything you see in your house, your furniture, the table, even people, right, that are maybe living with you or whatever. You're in a harmonious vibration with it. So nothing moves unless you're physically out of vibration with it. You can actually, there's different things where we talk about towards the end here of things that you can remove. We did talk about Marge, where she just basically moved the drapes that she didn't like. She kept saying, I can't stand those drapes, right? And how many times we say that of things in our lives that we're going to change. I was cleaning out a drawer looking for a manual because we were about to get a new refrigerator. And I noticed we had so many old manuals in this drawer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We had stuff since our 6-year-old was a baby. Her little pack and play and her little rocking chair. And, rest in peace, our dog. We had a huge manual for her dog crate, just stuff that's been sitting there for years. And this is something for you to kind of reevaluate what's been sitting in your mindset for a long time that is not doing anything but taking up space, negative space. You can have that space for something good, right? Something that'll benefit for you. So remember that, because that's a key thing here. And until you have first made space for them, indeed, I continue, the real secret behind the vacuum of law of prosperity lies in the fact that by giving the old drapes away, you would automatically have been making room for the new, right? So in other words, you can't get something until you are first willing to give something away. Bear in mind, however, that giving means letting go of completely or totally abandoning to another. And the key word is well, there's a few key words. Giving, right? When you give, it's the law of cause and effect. You'll receive in some type of way, whether it's monetarily or through another source. And let go. You have to let go of these mental conditioning, because it could be a way of thinking too that you've been holding on to. And we'll get into that as well. I was jumping the gun there. But also physical things as well. Clothes you don't wear, stuff that's sitting around in your house, even a car that may be parked out there and you barely drive it or whatever. Maybe you want a new car, stuff like that. So just some key points to kind of help out here, because you become like, what is it? Hoarders, right? You're hoarding these things and you're internally that doesn't do anything for you. This is why personal development is essential, because you become, it's like spring cleaning. Every spring you pick something. We didn't do it this year. And I was like, wow, we have a lot of stuff we need to let go, right? As human beings, we go through life with so much stuff that has totally nothing to do with where we're going, right? So this is why it's essential to join Coach's Corner, but also be open-minded to this vacuum law of prosperity, because you desire more. And, without this, nothing good will happen or higher vibration outside of where you are. Hopefully that makes sense. Does it?
Of course.
I inspired Lou. I inspired her.
Oh, look who's here with us. So I want you to think of this. When a baby is born, if you've joined us in Mini Coach's Corner, the top half represent the conscious mind. So this stick person, if you're new to us, represents the mind. Is it the mind? No, but it gives you an image. Without an image, there's confusion. So this top half is the conscious mind. This bottom half is the subconscious mind. This is the body, and Jamel's daughter knows this. And I love that video. These are our five senses. So the mind's purpose is to process incoming data. So the top half, the thinking mind, the conscious mind, isn't really developed yet until we're about, they say, 5 to 7 years old. So the subconscious mind is wide open and it's taking in all kinds of information, right? But what's also there is how we're breathing. Our heart is beating. The food will break down and, with take out all the vitamins and everything that's necessary, send them to different parts of our body. Everything is already programmed in the subconscious mind. Then the information from your environment starts coming in. And the baby has no ability to reject all the ideas, the beliefs, everything that's coming into the subconscious mind. So I think of the subconscious mind has all these little boxes. This is how we breathe. This is how we break down food. This is how the heart beats. This is how the blood flows. Da, 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 da. These are my beliefs. These are the habits. These are my fixed ideas. Everything that the baby was conditioned to believe by its environment is in separate little boxes, so to speak. Thoughts are in little boxes. So right now, the subconscious mind is full. Just pretend it's full. It's filled with all these boxes that can operate your body without you doing anything. It already knows. It's been programmed. All these little boxes have programs. Well, here comes this creative energy that flows to and through us, trying to give us new ideas. But we have all these little boxes. We're all set. We don't need new ideas. Unless there are boxes in here that are not serving you, that are keeping you frustrated, feeling stuck or unfulfilled, that feeling of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. We need to remove some of these boxes, these fixed ideas, the beliefs, to make room so this creative energy can create new ideas and have space for you to latch onto that new idea. Just like I was sharing when I was younger. I was doing things that young people, as they're entering into adulthood, they think this is what adults do, right? And I was doing things that I really didn't want to do, but I felt everybody is doing them, until I got to a point where I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I had to make the decision. So I had to take out those boxes and replace them with new ideas, new boxes of being healthy, of exercising, of eating the right food, etc. But there's this in-between space many times that we are fearful of. We're going to let go of something old. We're going to replace it, but there could be this in-between space where you're not seeing results and you're kind of in limbo. And that's what many times what people are afraid of. They're afraid to let go of what they know because we're already programmed. Everything's already can run us. You don't have to change anything in your life. You're already programmed and conditioned to live the life that you're living right now. The question is, are you happy? Are you fulfilled? Is this the life that you desire? Because again, you're programmed to keep running the way you're running right now. We all are. Unless we make the room, remove a box. I don't want to smoke anymore. I'm sick and tired. Every time I go up and down the stairs, I'm gasping for breath. I have young children. I want to be able to see them grow. I want to someday maybe see grandchildren, whatever it may be. But that desire must be very strong, because perhaps you've been smoking for decades. So the desire has to be very strong. The old, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Replace it. I'm going to start going for a walk. Every time I have a desire to, pick up a cigarette, I'll drink a glass of water. I'll do this, I'll do that. But the desire has to be strong enough, because these boxes have been around for decades. Alicia?
Yeah, that make me think. I'm reading a book. I show you soon. I was walking some days and I came to a place where there's cows everywhere. And then it made me remember of this book. Sorry, this in Spanish, but the book is called The Cow, and it's Camilo Cruz, the Dr. Camilo Cruz has, and the cow is, he start the book telling a story about a master with his what is it called, the person that he's teaching somebody, so he's a master, a disciple.
Disciple.
A
Yeah.
disciple, yeah. So the master and the disciple are working, and they come to a place that the people have not so much money there, but there is a family, and they have a cow, and they are so happy because the cow helped them to get milk and all this, the cow. And the master asked if they want to do something more, why they are not doing, but they are happy with, because the cow is helping them. So what happened is that the master tells the disciple to kill the cow. And this disciple is like, I cannot do that. Yeah, you should do that. And, he listened to the master and he did that. And then they went away. And 1 year after, or sometimes after, the disciple come back and think that, oh my gosh, the people will be died because they don't have any money or anything to eat. But what happened was, when the cow was not there, they started to think differently. They started to do different things, and suddenly they get so much money, and they came to the house. It was a beautiful house, and people were happy, and they asked, the disciple asked, what happened here? I say, the cow make us be satisfied where we were. But now when the cow died, we needed to find other ways to do this. And that's what happened, and it will be better and better. So I normally say, what cow do you need to kill to get where you are? What are you, a client and also a friend of mine are like, okay, I haven't these goals, but I need to kill my cows that is keeping me satisfied where I am. And the cow can be things at home, material things, but a lot of mental things. And it may also me think about weight loss, because people focus so much in weight loss because you can see that, but they don't think so much about the mental weight some they have.
Mhm.
And it's that cause that is creating more like keeping keeping people where they are and not feeling that they can go after their dreams and goals, and so they keep, those cows keep the people in the safety zone.
Mm. I love that.
Yeah, I love that
I
story. I saw.
recommend I recommend that, the
Yeah,
book.
no, it's a
Sorry,
good.
Paul.
No, it was good because I really liked when you posted that, and I read that story, and I thought, oh my gosh, like they're killing their cow. I mean, that's their source of milk and cheese, or and what are they going to do? And so, as the story portrays, they had to think differently. So they started growing crops that they hadn't grown before to provide food, and they had all these ingenious ideas all of a sudden on how to prosper, right? And
Yeah.
how it sounds so hard. So which cows do you have to kill? Oh my gosh! But it's such a good story. And as Alicia said, I recommend that you follow that up. And it just emphasizes that prosperity, and what we're talking about here, prosperity, it can't flow into a space that's already full. Just like a cluttered room blocks fresh energy. Outdated belief, right? Outdated beliefs and routines, outdated routines, they block your growth. But we really want to hold on to the past, but holding on to the past creates stagnation, right? We just stay where we are. We stay stuck. It's stagnant. But releasing creates motion, and that gives a signal to the universe that you're ready for more. The vacuum law requires faith, right? Because we're so scared. We're scared of the unknown. This is what we have. This is what we know. Even though we maybe in our heart we know we should release it, but letting go, without that trust, it's going to keep that space empty. But you have to let go with confidence, and that will invite more. That will invite abundance, and even small but intentional actions, like we've talked about, cleaning out a closet, but setting boundaries, ending a habit that's really draining. Lou talked about ending habits, or Friday nights, or talked about people who smoke, but ending a draining habit, that opens a door to larger, bigger transformations. And you can't receive abundance when you're clinging on to beliefs of limitation. The new reality requires a new mindset. And Bob ties this principle into personal growth and prosperity. If you want to attract wealth, or success, or happiness, you have to first clear out what conflicts with those things. So that was a great story, Alicia. I really love it, and it's another great analogy. Jamel?
Yes. Oh, this is so good. Jumping back to, there's so much share there. That's really good, Paul. And Lou was mentioning something as well that sparked a beautiful quote where it says, absence of evidence is necessarily not evidence of absence. And that always stood out to me. And really think about that, because once you physically remove something of a lower nature that you no longer want to make room for things of a higher nature, there's things happening there that you don't see with your eyes or hear with your ears. And there's always energy, the unseen energy. And in science, they actually call it dark matter and dark energy, where there's the space in between two physical objects. So I can get very technical with this, or very spiritual with it, but it's to make it very clear to understand. When you start taking a specific action, there's things moving around that you're unaware of. Whether you agree or don't, you're a part of these laws that we're explaining here. So why not understand yourself in relationship to these laws? Because you're using them to create the life that you want. And that's exactly what we want for each and every one of you. And obviously for ourselves as well, right? Why wouldn't we want that? And there's something, shared that really stood out to me that Marge said in that story about the drapes. She says, isn't it incredible what a tremendous difference a little bit of knowledge can make in your life?
Yeah.
You only have to learn a little bit to receive so much. I love that so much because this is just a small concept that you can use for the rest of your life. Just a small concept. And, the story is amazing because first she didn't like the drapes, and then she didn't, the whole living room was empty, right? So they basically lived in a living room without furniture for a little while, right? So what happened, they had to physically remove these things so a new couch can come in. And a lot of us, we get hung up on doubt and worry. And also, how is that going to happen? How am I going to get the money? How long is it going to take? Leave all that to just let go of the how. Just know that it will. And by natural law, you will fill that space and that void. And let me share here. It says, this is the other exercise that I've done as well. It says, check your own clothes closet very carefully, as if with a fine-tooth comb, and then remove all of the clothes you no longer wear. Right? And once you have done this, simply give them away. Give them away. Now, by doing this, you will thereby create a vacuum or a void. Right? So I've done this. I'm still doing this. I'm going to do this forever. I started removing clothes that I was really attached to. I had them for years, but I realized I didn't wear them. They're just sitting there taking up space. So I just started going through the row. I go through one left to right. I didn't care whatever sentimental value or how it looked on me or whatever. And I think I got rid of probably at least 10 shirts, a couple pair of pants, I think some old suit jackets or something. And guess what happened? Within a month, I got new clothes. New clothes, and it really, really works. And this is for people that, want some new wardrobes and stuff like that. But this is just a small way of applying this in your life. And it says, keep this information constantly in the forefront of your mind. Keep this in your mind. Know that this is operating all the time for you. And it's not just material objects. I think that's the easy part. It's also happening mentally. Remember, we're a three-part being. We are spiritual beings. That's the unseen, right? We have an intellect. That's our intellectual mind. We're learning, and we live in a physical body. So it always works to and through us. So you must let go of the old before you will ever make room for the new. You must let go of the old and just give it away. So whenever we wish to receive anything new into our life, we must trigger the process by making room for it. I also heard another way for like love. If you want to attract a new person in your life, for those that, are seeking a love life, thankfully, I just celebrated my anniversary, my lovely wife. So shout out to my wife,
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you so much. But if you're seeking someone and you're, maybe single or you've been trying different relationships and stuff like that, another way you can do is sleep on one side of the bed. You're making room, and put up a pillow, right? You can even open it a little bit so they can get in. That's a thing that you can do to make room for what you want to receive. You can also put their toothbrush next to the other sink, set up the sink as if somebody can use it or something like that. So these are little things you can do. You want a new car, make sure you have room in your driveway for a new car, right? So you're making physical space for this vacuum. And then there's other techniques we can teach you with that you can apply even more outside of just this law of vacuum by actually contacting us to apply this material. So that's just a few things that come to mind that is just essential. Any thoughts, anybody?
Yeah. So so removing something so you can replace it. So actually, just the other day, and I do this. I do it kind of the opposite. So yesterday I bought new clothes. And now I'm going to take out the old clothes that I no longer desire. But the other thing, too, that I learned from Bob, he mentions in this chapter to give things away. Don't sell them, give them away. I guess it depends because I just sold a car, so I wouldn't give that car away. But when we moved from our home, we had 4 floors, 4 living spaces, 4 levels of living spaces, right? We had a lot of stuff. And we gave everything away. And when people came to pick up the item, we gave them bonus gifts. It was like, here, take this, take that. And it felt so good instead of haggling for $10, $5 a quarter, whatever it may be. I just gave it away. And what that has done for both my husband and myself is that's what we do. I just give everything away because I realize, like that bedroom set, for an example, right? Beautiful bedroom set, quality, but I knew it would not fit into our new home, right? It did the style, etc. And it was time for a change. And so we just gave it away. There was a dining room set that we had, beautiful. The woman, when she came, she lived around the corner from us. She was so happy. She said, I'm so excited. She said, I've always wanted to host Thanksgiving, but I never had a table to sit everyone around. Now, this dining room set didn't even have a scratch on it. It was in perfect condition. But giving that to her, right, the willingness to just give, it creates such a vibration in us because the way I look at it, I got my money's worth out of it. And to be able to give that joy to someone else is irreplaceable. It's such a wonderful feeling. I also, the letting go, you have to have the faith and the trust, just like Jamel was saying, right? When you remove whatever the furniture, piece of furniture, and there's nothing there, right? You might be thinking, oh my God, how are we going to replace it? How? That's where the faith and the trust come in. But we must allow to create that space in, letting go of what no longer serves us. And it's hard. It's hard to let go of habits. It's hard to let go of beliefs that we've outgrown because we're just so familiar. We know how to navigate those roads. We've been doing it for decades. So to create a new road where we don't know where it's leading, that can be kind of scary. But this is where the adventure of life comes in. Taking a risk. Well, how many times I think there was a chapter in this book about risk taking, right? Taking that risk and believing. There was a couple of things that were in the chapter that I wrote down. Source never expresses itself other than perfectly. There is a non-physical creative energy that flows to and through us, giving us ideas and the hows. But if we're so locked up in our limiting beliefs and that can't happen to me and lack and scarcity, those are like, and I mention it in the chapter, like kinks in the hose. You're not letting the flow go through effortlessly, right? And then there's a part that says our inability to understand who and what we are and the lack of awareness of our relationship with the infinite power will always leave us with a distorted image of ourselves. This is where, because we put our security in money, in things, right? That makes us feel secure. But what about the creator that's created everything? And after we're gone, will continue to create with or without us. So we are working with that power. We're an extension of that power. So, but it takes faith and trust to let go of something that is so familiar to you, even though it may be toxic,
Mhm.
even though it may be toxic, you're very familiar on how to navigate that.
Mm.
So letting go of that takes a lot of trust and faith. And that's why, like Jamel says, why mentorship and coaching, we're able to guide and support you because we've gone through these things and we'll continue to go through other growth spurts. But we understand the process and we trust the process because we trust the creative, the non-physical creative power that flows to and through us, giving us the ideas, showing us the hows, bringing to us the right people and the right resources and opportunity, as long as we are in harmonious vibration with what it is that we desire. Paul.
Wow, that was a very powerful segment there, Lou. But it's so true, and I love that you brought up this giving. I mean, the chapter starts off with a poem on giving, and what it's suggesting, the poem is suggesting, is that giving isn't loss. It's not loss. It's expansion. It's actually a spiritual act that opens us up to greater good. It enriches both us, the giver, like Lou said, she got her money's worth and it was made her so happy. And it enriches the receiver. The woman was so happy, I've got a dining room table, I can host, Thanksgiving dinners or family dinners or whatever. Because I've always wanted that. But holding back on things, that interrupts the flow of prosperity. That kink in the hose, you're squeezing it. The water, the source is still coming, but we're preventing that flow. But giving aligns us with this universal law of circulation. That's what the law of vacuum is about this law of circulation. And giving reminds us that the starting point of the law or the vacuum law of prosperity is release. It's releasing. Prosperity doesn't begin by getting, it begins by giving. And that giving, it's tough, but it's a mindset. And it isn't just about money. It's about generosity. It's about trust. And it's about openness. So I'm really happy that you brought up that part about giving. Thank you. Alicia.
Yeah, I was thinking about what you say, Lou, that it's hard to let go and things about the familiarity. We are so familiar with things that we don't see the that if we let this go and we will fix whatever we want. I believe that we set a fence between what we want and what we are. So everything that we want is at the other side of that fence, but we are together, we work cool all the time, that, and we don't want to be to let those cow. I mean, cows. We are around with the cows, and with at the other side of the fence, it is something that we want. For example, I had many years ago a person that contacted me, and he wanted to have a new relationship, and he say, but I never met any woman that want to be with me. And I say, what is the fence that you have created, or the wall between you and love, or the new relationship. And then it was because the past person that he had let him go and meet another person, and then he was afraid that the new person will do the same. So he needed to kill that cow that say that every relationship that I have will end in the same way all the time. So I say you cannot think about that. You will meet your person, but you are not you cannot think all the time about that this new person will do the same. So I believe in that, and yeah, we have so difficult to let things go, not because it's right, but because it's familiarity that is there, this familiar that we do all the time. Yeah.
Ugh, this chapter speaks volumes. That is amazing, Alicia. You know, this chapter is so key, and it's good to just remember, like, keep it in your mind, right? Don't let this go in one ear and out the other. There's a few things I wanted to share here. You know, the vacuum law of prosperity, like I mentioned before, it applies not only to our physical world, but also to our mental domain, basically your thinking, right? So understand that whenever we wish to entertain new ideas, we must first be willing to let go of or to challenge some of our old ideas. We become so conditioned to hold on to old ideas and beliefs that no longer serve us, and they keep us where we are, and we're remain that way. And it goes on to say, unfortunately, there's a very large segment of the population which has an exceedingly difficult time achieving this end. So because of this, these troubled individuals often entertain opposing and contradictory ideas. I really wanted to share this here because it says at one and the same time. So there's a lot of people, they live their entire lives in a state of oscillation, basically thinking, should I do it? I don't do it. Should I do it or don't do it? Should I go there? Should I not go there? Etc. This mental state is commonly referred to as what? Indecision, right? So a lot of people stay in a state of indecision, especially when it comes to true growth, right? And it leads to considerable mental anguish and confusion. Like, how long are we're going to stay in this state, right? So be aware that indecision or confusion can be one of the greatest, if not the greatest, cause of people being held back from accomplishing great things in their lives. So that is massive to really ask yourself, have I been going back and forth with my thoughts and even considering mentorship? Because if you want change, you have to really look at yourself, be an open, honest with yourself. And we talk a lot about why we hold on to the old things, our old beliefs, our old stuff. But I know that, you know, it's 95% mindset, 5% strategy. So things that you're holding on to your mind, it says we hold on to old ideas and old things because we lack faith in our ability to obtain new ideas and new things. This, of course, leads to a condition of insecurity, which stems at its root from an inability to understand who and what you are, and a lack of awareness of your true relationship with the infinite power will always leave you with a distorted image of yourself. Wow. So a lot of people have distorted images of who they really are. That is massive. And the more I study and learn about myself, I'm able to really tap into this material and apply it through experience. So this is so good. It says, therefore, you must reach the point where you realize your true self, to know thyself by the renewing of your mind, right? So knows no limits. So your true self has no limitations. That's a belief that a lot of people struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
Probably will until their passing day. So that in truth, you are quite capable of having, doing, or being virtually anything you desire to be. So, but when individuals fail to appreciate this basic truth, when they are honestly convinced that their supply is limited and that their real security lies in money or things, they will be afraid to try anything new. Indeed, it takes no great wisdom to understand that they will want to hold on to what they already have, and then they will try to accumulate even more of the same. So it even says, just take an ordinary cup and set it on the table, right? Or on a desk, whatever. Then ask yourself whether you're able to put anything else where that cup rests, right? So you obviously have to remove that cup to put anything there, right? So really think about that. There's something else I wanted to share before we end this point here, about obstructions. Lou brought up the kink in the hose, right? And energy always flows to and through us. And it actually, your thoughts dictate what's good or bad, and where your mindset is, and also what you're creating. So it says, what are these obstructions? And this is the kinks that a lot of us hold. These obstructions, I don't know if Alicia has a water hose over there as a prop, but imagine a water hose that's tied in a knot, right? So these these kinks are basically, they include doubt. So you're doubting yourself and your abilities, your potential, the money you can earn, the trips and lifestyle you want, etc. Guilt, resentment, and any thoughts of lack or limitation. They include any negative ideas which have a tendency to block the flow of creative energy to and through you. So your problem, whether you realize it or not, is that you haven't created the space for the beautiful image which you're trying to create. So therefore, you must resolve yourself to let go of all these obstructions to enable you to make space for the good you desire. So how are you able to create something in your imagination and visualize if you're holding on to, how can I do that? That'll never happen, right? I never done that before. This total opposites of belief, right? So this is why you got to do the work, right? You have to do the work, because you can't create what you want if you're not doing the work. And you're not growing if you don't get out your comfort zone, right? So this is to get very uncomfortable so you can shed your old self. I was trying to find it, and I'm not going to say what book it is, but it's a Neville Goddard book where they talk about the moth. The moth becomes one with the flame. It must be willing to kill its old self to become become one with the flame. So basically, it's shedding its old belief system and its old ideas to become something more grand. And that really reminded me of what Alicia was sharing about the cows. We don't want any animal rights groups taking it the wrong way, but we're just saying, get rid of your old self and create a new. And it says, remember, regardless of how the results of your life may presently appear to you, your present circumstances, conditions, etc., you have truly been born rich. We all have. And reading this whole book, word from word, it was an awakening, knowing that we have everything we always need. And it's our own thinking that limits us or who we are. And it's a perfect segue. God's gift to you is more talent and ability than you will ever use in your one lifetime. Your gift to God is to develop and utilize as much of that talent and ability as you can in this lifetime. So how do you do that? You're at Coach's Corner, my friend. This is where we're sharing this material and our experiences and our knowledge to show you these gifts, and then you can apply it, take it a step further, right? This is why it's important to contact one of us, right? It doesn't stop here. And I'll close on the poem. Anybody want to share anything before I read that? Because it's been such an honor, sharing this entire book. I listened to the audio so many times, and to actually read it was different, and I listened to the audio years ago and multiple years after that. But at this higher awareness who I am now, I see it in a different light, right? Absolutely. So, and this is, we're all growing, and we will continuously learn more about ourselves. and we want to pass this on to you. This is why we're here. So anybody want to share any thoughts of what I rambled on about?
One thing is you talk about something that stop us is what we think about ourselves. And because I was bullied when I was young, when I was a child, when I started working and being more aware of who I was, and so I decided that I will never bully myself, because it's like, oh, good, but so idiot you are, like, no, come on, you cannot do that. This is bullying yourself. So I say, stop bullying yourself.
Thank you. I just want to thank everyone for taking this journey with us through this series of You Were Born Rich. And to pull out the truth, it doesn't mean that you were born into a wealthy family or with the silver spoon in your mouth. You were born rich means every single one of us was born with the potential and the possibility of living that rich life, whatever that rich life means to you. But we also have the choice to live and believe in that truth and take action from that truth. But it's been a wonderful journey going through this series with our attendees and with my colleagues. And I'm looking forward to next week's. And maybe, Jamel, after the poem, you can announce next week's series. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And, I love that Jamel included that poem at the end because it's really important to nurture our talents, gifts, and abilities that we were blessed with. And that is, our gift to God and to humanity is to develop those gifts as much as we can. But just to underscore what we talked about, to receive more, you have to make room for it. Prosperity flows into open spaces, not into cluttered, resistant lives. And that's all the clutter that you have in your mind. And I really love, because I can really relate to what Alicia said, don't bully yourself. Watch your negative self-talk because you are listening. So be careful of your negative self-talk. And pass it back on to Jamel. Jamel.
Oh, this is so good. It's been such a pleasure sharing this entire book with my colleagues here. Such powerful material for those that like to learn more about this. And most importantly, change your life with this from the inside out. Make sure you contact one of us. Whoever you resonate with, it doesn't matter. Just reach out and see how you can apply this to your life towards what you desire. It may not be a good fit, but it's definitely worth having a conversation about. It really is, because I don't want to just have this knowledge. I want to help people with it and help, businesses and humanity. And we're doing ourselves a disservice if we're not doing that. And I'm just blessed to share this. So, and thank you for all the viewers that were here for this entire journey. Thank you for those that reached out to me personally as well, and those that leave comments and hearts. I see a lot of hearts and likes and stuff. That's awesome. And as what Lou was sharing about, you were born rich. You have to shift your perception of what rich is. It's not just money. That's just an outgrowth of what you hold inside. Actually, your perception on money. Rich could mean different things, and we all have unlimited potential, and that's a belief system in itself that you can shift. You have unlimited potential. So speaking of unlimited potential, to close this book off and the final chapter, sorry, I got a little loud there. Hey, see, that's the universe listening, right? Words have power. So the one and only you, for everyone that's watching, Every single blade of grass and every flake of snow is just a wee bit different. There's no two alike, you know. From something small like grains of sand to each gigantic star, all were made with this in mind, to be just what they are. How foolish then to imitate, how useless to pretend, since each of us comes from a mind whose ideas never end. There will only be just one of me to show what I can do. And you should likewise feel very proud. There's only one of you. That is where it all starts, with you, a wonderful, unlimited human being. James T. Moore. Wow. Well, we have a big announcement. And it's so funny to see thinking into results after that on the next page. We have a wonderful announcement that this is the final video. No longer doing Coach's Corner. You know, this is the end. And it's been a great journey. We're just playing. We're continuing.
It was like, what?
I wanted to see what your expressions are. We are continuing. Oh, yes. Look at that, Lou. Thank you. Yeah. 111. You know, put that in the comments of this post, whatever platform you're on. Comment 111 if you're feeling the energy here and you want us to continue sharing many things that we study. So we are continuing with a very popular book that resonates with us and we all agreed on is The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. So we'll be breaking down each chapter right here on camera and sharing our experiences with it. So I'm really excited because that's an amazing book and inspired a lot of things, even The Secret with Rhonda Byrne. So it's very, very powerful. What can I say? I'm lost for words. I'm excited to dive in and, you know, looking forward to helping a lot of people there as well. So, yeah, oh, there we go. Thank you, Marcia. Yay. Awesome. Awesome. All right, everybody. We went a little over time, but, you know, we had to hit the 111. So maybe we should do that every time. Oh, anything going on with my amazing colleagues this month or next month? Anything you want to share that you have going on in your respective platforms?
I'm wrapping up. So me and another colleague are wrapping up Soulful Summer Conversation. So we've been holding these every Tuesday night on Zoom. Each night we have a special topic. And it's an intimate, you know, no pressure, no frills conversation amongst women. It's just been really wonderful. So we won't be able to do it this Tuesday because I'll be traveling, but we'll be wrapping up next Tuesday. If anyone is interested in joining, you know, you can just DM me and I'll send you the information and the registration for that.
Yeah. Awesome.
And I have, I love this work with values. So if people want to know their values and also go deep in the values work, they can contact me.
Okay, later in September, we're going to be hosting some workshops and seminars at the World Life Education Center, and I'm going to release those details. I don't have all the details in front of me, but look for that. I'm going to be posting that shortly.
Awesome. And next month, September 13th, I'm doing a free online event. I don't have a name for it yet, but I'm sure it's going to be a lot of value. Where it's helpful for you, breaking down a bunch of different things that you can apply and similar to what we shared today. So I'm excited. All right, everybody. It's been a great pleasure. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
See you next week.
See you next week.
You. Bye.
Reach out to us. Change those drapes.
Kill your cows.
You're welcome, Donna.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you, Masha.